Shalom. All praises, blessings, glories, and honors to Yahweh, the King of terrors, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash, and double honors unto my elder apostles and bishop elders of Great Millstone, who taught me this truth, as well of men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy to the elect of the nation of Israel, whom I use so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We're scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, beginning with the 144,000 prophets, and Yahweh, the King of terrors, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, willing, this lesson is edifying and informative. My name is Quanawath, and in the news, various headlines. First, the Associated Press. Trump threatens to cut off trade with Spain, which is an allied member of NATO, after it disallowed U.S. use of joint bases in Iran war. Ongoing conflict as I speak. This article was published yesterday by Fatima Hussein and Suman Nashidham, if I pronounce his name correctly. Not forgive me. I digress. Let's listen to this clip that we see before us that essentially summarizes this article before we move on to the next, Lord's willing.
It started when every European nation, at my request, paid 5%, which they should be doing. And everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases, and that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they would have agreed to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain.
Well, we are trying to convince Spain to catch up with the 3% or 3.5%, which we agreed on in NATO. And as the President said, it's correct. Spain is the only one who is not willing to accept that. And we are trying to convince them that this is a part of our common security, that we all have to comply with these numbers, and this is 3.5 for military and another 1.5 for our military infrastructure. So Spain has to comply with that.
By the way, I'm not happy with the UK either. That island that you read about, the lease, okay, he made it for whatever reason, he made a lease of the island. Somebody came and took it away from him. And it's taken 3-4 days for us to work out where we can land there. It would have been much more convenient landing there as opposed to flying many extra hours. So we are very surprised. This is not Winston Churchill that we're dealing with.
And so we continue to see the crumbling of the latter part of the kingdom of the wicked. That feet of it, which is mixed with part iron and miry clay, and is crumbling through the continual division between America, Babylon the Great, and our allies. And this is a part of biblical prophecy, written of in the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter, in regards to the feet of it, in addition to the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter, the 16th verse, which states, and the 10 horns, which the 10 horns represents the EU, which is a part of the beast, which is the ancient pagan Roman Empire. Please bear with me 1 second. Please excuse me for the loud ambiance as I'm on the move. But as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by the noise. The beast is the pagan Roman Empire, which came back in the form of NATO and the EU, with America being an extension of that empire. As America is the whore that rideth upon the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. And these 7 heads includes the Greeks, the Romans, the French, Spanish, the British, and Germania Major and Germania Minor. These are the 7 heads of the beast that has 10 horns, which represents the EU. And the 10 horns, again, Revelation chapter 17, verse 16. And also, America is that 8th head of the 7th. Also written of in the book of Revelation. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. And we have been witnessing and absorbing, forgive my accent, it's as if I'm saying absorbing, like you absorb something. But you know what I mean. The ongoing hatred between the allies for America, Babylon the Great. These shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked. And how they're going to do that? By shooting ICBM nuclear missiles upon the whore, according to biblical prophecy. Written of in the book of Jeremiah, the 49th chapter, 50th chapter, among many others, including this one. Because it clearly states right here that they're going to make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So this entire land is going to be burnt by nuclear fire, according to biblical prophecy. All right, so now let's move on to the next article.
Not Winston.
Spain's government denies cooperating with U.S. operations in Mid-East, so-called Middle East, contradicting White House. published today. In fact, March 4th, which was really yesterday, because we're in March 5th today as I speak. Forgive me. Madrid AP. A diplomatic tussle between the United States and Spain over the war in Iran intensified on Wednesday when the governments exchanged contradictory statements over the possible use of Spanish military bases by American armed forces for operations in the Middle East. Moments after a White House spokesperson said the Spanish government, Madrid, had agreed to help, the U.S. Spanish Foreign Minister Jose Manuel Alvarez came out and flatly denied that the European government had changed its position. I can refute, the White House spokesperson Alvarez told Spanish radio station Cadena Ser, the position of the Spanish government regarding the war in the Middle East, so-called, the bombing of Iran and the use of our bases has not changed one iota. So they remain firm on their decision, which will obviously continue deteriorating their relationship with America, Babylon the Great. The disagreement broke out on Tuesday when Trump said that he was going to cut off all trade with Spain, a day after Alvarez said that his government wouldn't allow the U.S. to use jointly operated bases in southern Spain in any strikes not covered by the UN Charter. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said that his government wouldn't be complicit in something that is bad for the world. Because they can clearly see where the world is heading. And it's most certain not in a good direction. Right? So it reads on to say, Alvarez denied that his government had reconsidered its posture on the use of the bases on Wednesday evening in Madrid, shortly after White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had said, with respect to Spain, I think they heard the president's message yesterday loud and clear. And it's my understanding, over the past several hours, they've agreed to cooperate with the U.S. military, Leavitt had said. And so I know that the U.S. military is coordinating their counterparts in Spain. And that concludes the article. And so Spain remains firm on their decision to not cooperate with U.S. operations in so-called Middle East. And the report that they had decided to do so, according to this article from the AP, it was contradicting. Okay? In the next report from X, formerly known as Twitter, from the unusual whales. Breaking. China's government has told the country's largest oil refiners to suspend exports of diesel and gasoline, per Bloomberg. This comes by reason of the ongoing conflict in the so-called Middle East. And we will see as a result oil prices skyrocket, energy prices. In the fourth report, also from X, from the Kobasai letter, breaking, an oil tanker has been hit by a large explosion, which further supplements China's reasoning to suspend export of energy. Because tankers are getting hit by large explosions in the waters of Kuwait, resulting in a large oil spill. Oil prices are now nearing their highest levels since the war began, and they will continue to rise because of the ongoing conflict in the so-called Middle East, especially due to the situation at the Strait of Hormuz, a very critical trading route for the globe. Now, somebody asked Grok to verify it, and Grok said, verified, MTO confirms. Tanker at anchor 30 NMSE of Kuwait's Mubarak Al Kabir port reported large explosion on port side. Oil spill from cargo tank. Possible ENV impact. Crew safe. Small craft seen fleeing. Happened outside territorial waters. Oil prices surged as a result, roughly 5% to highest since January 2025 amid ongoing U.S.-Israeli-Iran conflict. Sources, Reuters, Wall Street Journal, trade winds rather. Excuse me. And so things are heating up, man, even as I speak this very moment. And in conclusion, this is also from the AP, photos of a blood red moon and total lunar eclipse, which took place yesterday, which, according to the scriptures, the Lord created the moon for a declaration of the times, the seasons. Okay, yesterday we had a blood moon, which is a very significant sign. Okay. There are some images. And there was even one that was captured yesterday in New York City. So, in closing, this is the book of Jeremiah. And Lord's willing, this lesson has been informative, edifying. It was on my spirit to do this lesson. Wanted to inform the flock as to what's going on around the globe and filter it all through the scriptures. So this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49. Verse 13, for I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord Yahweh, the King of terrors, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, that Basra, which modern day Basra is here in America, Babylon the Great, shall become a desolation. So according to biblical prophecy, America, Babylon the Great, prophetically modern day Basra, shall become a desolation by reason of thermonuclear destruction, according to biblical prophecy. A reproach awaits. And we can read about this in the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter, the latter end of the chapter, wherein this land will become a barren desert, home for satyrs and owls and unclean beasts, and a curse. And all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste. Verse 17. Also Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished. Isaiah 14. Is this the man? And shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. As in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighboring cities thereof, saith the Lord Yahweh, the King of terrors, Bahashem Yahushai, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. Now let's get Isaiah the 13th chapter to further proves it. Prove this and then conclude the lesson, Lord's willing. Isaiah chapter 13, I'll read through it, verse 17. Not 17, excuse me. Verse 19. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when Yahweh, the King of terrors, overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. And owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there, and the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in the desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So the days of America, Babylon the Great, is coming to its end, according to biblical prophecy, and shall not be prolonged. So with that, I'll conclude this lesson, Lord's willing. It has been edifying and informative. I'm about to reach my destination, Lord's willing, and I'll catch you brothers and few sisters, Lord's willing, in the next lesson. Shalom.